This is the new 2024 GMC Sierra 2500HD AEV Edition, and it's a huge and massive pickup truck made even more massive and capable with a $10,000 factory option package from off-road outfitter AEV. The result is a sticker price of more than $100,000 and almost 1,000 pound-feet of torque. In the world of huge and expensive trucks, this is among the hugest and among the most expensive. And today, I'm going to review it and show you all of its quirks and features. Today's video is sponsored by Cars and Bids, which is my online car auction website for modern enthusiast cars. So far, Cars and Bids has hosted more than 20,000 auctions of special, cool, exciting cars like this, and this, and this, and this. So, if you're looking to sell your enthusiast car, reach a wide audience at carsandbids.com. All right, time for the quirks and features of the GMC Sierra Heavy Duty AEV Edition. And I want to start with a little overview and start that with a discussion of this truck's size. For my viewers who aren't particularly familiar with pickup trucks, especially the foreign viewers, they see something like this and they say, oh, the Americans, they've gone mad with their trucks. Huge. Well, this truck is huge even by American standards. It's 242 inches long, more than 20 feet long, and over a foot longer than the most common Ford F-150 configuration. That's already a big truck. It's also 78.5 inches high. That's 6'5". It's taller than I am, and I don't encounter too many vehicles like that. It's a huge truck, even by American standards. So, what is it and who's buying it? This is the heavy-duty version of the GMC Sierra. Sierra is a pretty common full-size truck here. The heavy-duty one is for people who want more towing, hauling. They're usually used by people who actually use their pickup trucks. The heavy-duty starts around $47,000, but it comes in a wide variety of different trim levels, body styles, configurations, ranging all the way up to the top trims, the luxury model, the Denali Ultimate, which starts at $95,000, and the off-road version, the AT4X, that's this, which starts around $85,000. Now, this particular heavy-duty Sierra comes with two options that makes it especially interesting. One is the engine, a 6.6-liter turbodiesel V8 that costs $9,500 extra than the standard gas engine. That's a lot of money, but get this. The standard gasoline engine is a 6.6-liter V8 that makes 400 horsepower and 470 pound-feet of torque. But if you upgrade to the diesel, you get an extra 70 horsepower and 975 pound-feet of torque, an absolutely massive number that means you can tow and haul basically anything. And you start to understand why the $9,500 extra makes sense. Now, the other notable option on this truck is the AEV Edition, which is new for the 24 model year. It's based on the Sierra heavy-duty AT4X, the off-road version, but it makes it even more off-roady with some goodies from AEV, American Expedition Vehicles, which is an off-road aftermarket parts supplier that's been in business for years with Jeep and truck off-road parts. Now they've partnered with GMC to deliver this package from the factory. It costs $9,400 extra. It's a big number, but it includes some cool stuff like steel bumpers. You can see a steel bumper up here in front, and same deal around back. Steel bumpers front and rear with recovery hooks front and rear, as you can see. So this truck can pull anything that's stuck out of wherever it's stuck. The front bumper is also winch ready, as you can see. They can't sell the truck with a winch from the factory due to regulations, but it's ready to take one. You can stick it on and then you can pull even more. The AEV Edition also adds some cool wheels. You can see them here, black wheels that look a little more aggressive than what you get in the standard truck, but more importantly, they're wrapped in 35-inch all-terrain tires, which will enhance the capabilities. Now, the AEV Edition does not include a lift, and that's because the regular Sierra Sierra AT4X Heavy Duty is already lifted 1.5 inches compared to the standard heavy duty Sierra, and it already has Multimatic off-road suspension. So they didn't go further with the suspension, it's just bumpers, wheels and tires, and skid plates underneath the truck, which make it more resistant to getting broken up on a trail. There's also some cosmetic stuff from AEV to add to the cool factor, which I'll show you inside and out. Now, the result of the options to this truck, the engine, the AEV Edition, some other stuff, is this truck has a $103,000 sticker price, a giant pickup with almost 1,000 pound-feet of torque, and a sticker price of over 100 grand, 6 figures for a truck. So let's check out the quirks and features and see what you get. So we climb inside the AEV Edition Sierra, and actually as we climb inside, you open the door and a power running board extends out to greet you, giving you like a stair to step on to get in. That's actually important because it's a huge truck and the lift makes it even huger. It'd be hard to climb in without that running board. So it's there, you jump in and you discover, well, quite a few interesting quirks, starting with the world's largest engine start-stop button. It's huge, mounted right here. Not sure why it's so big, but it is, and it certainly makes you feel powerful, turning it on and firing up 1,000 pound-feet of torque. Next up, a great quirk, a feature I wish way more cars had. This button, press it and it lowers all the windows at once. All the windows that can open go down, they do open, to create instant airflow in the interior. Now, unfortunately, this button will not raise all the windows again. You have to do that individually, which is insane, but just having the button is great, and I wish other automakers had an all down at once button like this. And speaking of buttons that do interesting things, this one on the driver's door panel, you press that and the mirror extends out, as you can see. Actually, both sides mirrors extend out. They do this for trailer towing. If you're towing a trailer, you got something big back there, you want even more space out with the mirrors so you can see more of what's around you, and you can do that here with the simple push of a button instead of getting out and pulling the mirrors out yourself. No manual labor required here. Next up, we move on to the seats, which are actually pretty nice. $100,000 truck deserves nice seats, and this one delivers. You can see some nice contrast stitching, which looks good. Red in parts, white in other parts. Interestingly, they were able to match the seat material, you can see here, exactly with the material you see on the door panel right here. It's very weird to see leather and plastic have exactly the same surface, but they've done that in this truck for some reason. Now, you can also see the seats have the AT4X logo on them and AEV's logo embroidered into the headrest, so you have both of those. You also have AEV heavy-duty floor mats here, as you can see. That comes, of course, with the AEV Edition, and it's just about the only AEV stuff you get in this interior to distinguish it from a regular AT4X. Now, you open up the center console lid, which also has that leather/plastic texture on it. You open up that lid and you discover a massive center console, absolutely huge for storing whatever you might possibly want. So big, in fact, that it comes with a balcony, as you can see here. You just put this on and then your storage has a balcony to look down on your other storage. It's nice to see in this center console you have a household style power outlet, which obviously is very useful. You can plug in a toaster or something that is actually useful, but it's nice to have that up front. Now, one other item worth noting, speaking of charging in the center console, the wireless charging pad, which is here, it's pretty well placed. Your phone goes right in the center, it's sort of angled upwards, so you can kind of see it. You're not gonna look at it and be distracted while driving, but you can look at it and see the time, and if someone texts you, you wanna respond to it at a stoplight or when you're parked, it's nice to have that right here. Also, it means you won't forget your phone in some hidden wireless charging pad that you can't see. Other notable items in here, for one, you got dual glove boxes. You press this button and the upper glove box opens and reveals a storage compartment, or you can open the lower glove box with the normal glove box latch, giving you more practicality than just one glove box. One thing I don't love in this interior, these dials here to the left of the steering wheel. They control the headlights and some trailer towing capability stuff. They hit your knees. If you're a taller driver with longer legs, they're right against your knees when you're driving. Wouldn't want to feel that in an accident. And even just driving along without an accident, they kind of dig into your knees in certain positions. Not the greatest. One other feature I do love in this interior though, the rear view mirror. You can see right now you have a standard rear view mirror, but if you flip the switch, it becomes a camera. General Motors pioneered this feature like 4 or 5 years ago. A bunch of other automakers have picked it up, but it's nice to see it's being used in so many cars, and especially in a big truck where you're often got people sitting in the back or stuff in the bed you might not be able to see behind you. Well, with your camera mirror, you can see no problem. And that brings us to screens. Since the rear view mirror is essentially a screen, let's talk about the other screens in this car, because there are quite a few. Starting with the one in the middle, the infotainment system is excellent in this new truck. GM's latest infotainment really knocks it out of the park for a lot of reasons. For one, tremendously responsive to your touch. Very easy, tap anywhere and it goes exactly what you want it to do. There's no lag, there's no delay, it's really easy to use. And very simple and intuitive. No excessive menus, no stuff you don't understand. It's all simple, well laid out, and easy. And your basic functions still have manual controls. You have a volume knob to the left of the screen along with a power on-off switch and a home button directly below that, so no matter how far you bury yourself in some menu, you can always go back to the home screen. Also worth pointing out, the climate controls are not integrated into the infotainment system like they are with some brands, so you have your full complement of climate controls down here with traditional buttons. Makes it easier to adjust stuff. You don't have to go into the screen. But this infotainment system is great for more than just that. You have Google built into this. So Google Maps, which is an excellent benefit compared to some proprietary navigation mapping systems, and Google Assistant built in here. You also have the ability to show 2 panels at once, so you can see the maps and the music displayed at the same time, and both left and right sides of the screen are configurable, so you can show different things depending on what you want to see. It's excellent. And worth pointing out, another great feature of this center screen, the camera system. GM has killed it with cameras all around the vehicle. You can see a wide range of high quality cameras showing basically every angle. This makes it easy to off-road. You can see if you're missing obstacles. It makes it easy to park. This is a massive truck, so it's nice to know exactly where you are. And it makes it easy to set up, line up a trailer to your hitch and back, since you can see exactly where the truck is positioned. A lot of great stuff to say about this screen, and the same is true with the gauge cluster screen. Also excellent full screen gauge cluster, as you can see, and fully configurable. The left, center, and right panels can all be configured to display various pieces of information. You still can't do a full screen map or full screen music. It's not quite as configurable as the center screen, but it is excellent and shows lots of different things depending on exactly what you want to see, which is the great benefit of having a gauge cluster as a screen. And beyond that, you also have a heads-up display projecting onto the windshield. So directly ahead of you, you can see a rather comprehensive heads-up display that shows a rather large amount of stuff, and it's configurable to show various different pieces of info, again, depending on what you want to see. Between all of these screens, there's no way you're short on any information this truck can provide. It's all directly in front of you, and frankly, it's pretty well done. And next up, we move on to the back seat, and the first thing you notice back here is it's huge. There's a lot of space for all 3 passengers to sit in the back, both sides and the middle. Leg room, hip room, headroom. It's all here. The back seat is massive, which of course is great. You can use this to carry a work crew or your family, whatever you want. There's space back here to do it. You got a couple nice features back here too. Power ports, you can see USB A and C. Unfortunately, no household style port back here, which I think is kind of a disappointment. That would be nice to see. But you do have heated rear seats, which is a luxurious touch, and rear seat climate vents, which is nice to have as well. And of course, you got some cup holders on the back of this front center console, and some more drink storage areas in the door panel, and even more in this center armrest that folds down. You can stick even more cups here. The back seat takes care of all your drinking needs. Now, one interesting item, the back seats still have the same red and white contrast stitching as the front seats did, and the same material on the leather seats that's replicated in the plastic door panel, which is odd again, but you don't get the AEV logo in the headrests or the AT4X logo on the seat back like you did up front. They cheaped out with that stuff, but not the stitching, which I guess matters even more. One thing I love about the back seats in new GM pickup trucks is the hidden storage compartment inside the seat back. You can see it right here. There's a little loop. You just pull it, and then you have a storage compartment back here where you can hide stuff if you don't want people to find it. You got that on both sides, driver and passenger, which is neat to see. And of course, if you want more storage, you lift up the seat bottom and you can see a large storage compartment back here where you can stick, again, more stuff if you don't want it in the bed where it could get stolen or damaged with weather. You got a place inside the truck where you can put your items. On the floor here in the back, you can again see some rubber heavy-duty floor mats. These are from AEV and add to the truck's capabilities. You want to go muddy? You can jump inside with your shoes all muddy and just hose down these floor mats afterwards. And next up, we move outside the AEV Edition, moving around to the back where you can see an AEV logo back here, letting you know this is a special truck. Now, you also see the steel bumper, which I mentioned and showed you earlier with its big recovery hooks. That's great, and I love that for an off-road vehicle. One drawback of this steel bumper, though, you lose the side steps that allow easy access to the bed over on the side of the bumper. They're not included in the steel bumper. You still have side steps on the side of the truck, as you can see right here. So you can jump onto those and then reach into the bed, but you don't have as easy access from the bumper itself. Although that's not that big of a deal because the tailgate in this truck is so great. So let's talk about that tailgate. For one thing, the inner part, the upper part of the tailgate is black painted. That is a unique touch on the AEV Edition. Who really cares? But it is there and it does distinguish the truck a little bit. So the tailgate, you come up to the back and you have two buttons that you can press. The lower button just opens the tailgate normally. The upper button opens only the upper part of the tailgate. It's split in two. And then from here, you can lift up this piece, and if you have some larger item, you kind of extend the length of your tailgate, like a bed extender, which is pretty cool. But you can do a lot more with this. For example, you can lower the whole tailgate, and then you can lower the upper part, and then you have a step to climb inside. You don't have it on the bumpers, you don't need it. There's even a railing that you can put up. So you put the railing up, you grab on, and you can easily step into your truck's bed. Absolutely no problem at all. It's a great feature. And the other cool thing you can do with the tailgate, is you can put this bit up while the tailgate is down, and then you have even more of a bed extender. Frankly, a lot of different cool tailgate options. They call this, I think, the Multi-Pro tailgate, but whatever they call it, everyone's trying to copy it now because it's such a good idea. By the way, speaking of the bed, last thing worth pointing out back here on the inside of the bed right here, you flip this panel up and you have a household style power port, as you can see, which obviously adds some convenience and a nice benefit. You can power stuff while you're out in the field using your truck. And finally, other exterior quirks and features on this truck. We'll start with lighting. One thing I like, these little markers over the front and rear wheels, you can see them. They turn on when the headlights are on, and if you look closely, they have the GMC logo integrated into them, which is a cool little touch. You might not notice, but it's there. Speaking of lighting, the front turn signals are cool. They turn on and then sort of gradually fade off. More and more automakers are playing with doing cool stuff with their lights and turn signals, and that trend has even made its way to GM pickup trucks. The rear turn signals also do a sort of similar thing, turn on and then slowly blink off, on and slowly off. It's kind of a cool feature that adds some character to the truck. Also worth pointing out, up here, you have this giant front end, basically completely vertical, huge grille, massive GMC badge. You have an air intake in the hood, giant steel bumper, and then you have this little thing next to the front camera. That's a squirter. You can squirt water on the front camera. If it gets dirty, go into the infotainment system, you tap here, and then water will squirt onto the front camera to wash it off. this tiny little piece of equipment that's actually kind of useful and certainly quirky. But in terms of exterior interesting things about this truck, definitely the most interesting is just its physical size. It really is a huge truck, even by huge truck standards. It's tall, it's wide, it's long, and the AEV upgrades make it even more so. The lift kit that's already on the AT4X models, now you got chunky off-road tires, these black wheels, the steel bumpers add more muscle. This truck looks long and big, and it is long and big, more than almost any other giant truck in the whole car business. All right, driving the 2024 GMC Sierra 2500 HD AT4X AEV Special Edition. Yeah, I got it all. Okay, the thing to know about this truck is it is big. You know, I'm a car journalist. I review all sorts of different vehicles. I'm not really surprised by the size of full-size pickup trucks anymore, but heavy-duty pickup trucks, the big stuff, the really big stuff, whew, is big. And this is really, really big. I am behind a RAV4, and I am towering over that little ant like I'm in a tower. It's just huge. This truck is so big, and it's so long. And in terms of lanes, you're just sort of guessing. Because it's so large, you're just trying to kind of keep it generally where it looks like it's going to be, and other people are going to move out of your way. That's the reality of this truck. But I will say one thing. I have consistently made fun of General Motors for not going into the Ford Raptor world, and this is an attempt at that, and so for that, I'm happy. I'm surprised Ford hasn't made a Super Duty Raptor. That seems like a no-brainer to me. General Motors is like, all right, well, let's make an off-road version of our heavy-duty pickups. That's the AT4X, and that's a good idea. Now let's make this AEV one with steel bumpers and off-road tires. I mean, I like the concept of it. The price point is wild, $103,000. And I'm not even entirely sure that $9,500 for the AEV stuff is really worth it. Skid plates, mats, tires, wheels. It's nice to have all that stuff for sure, but it is big money. Overall, though, it just hits me that, you know, this truck is just a behemoth. Even in the land of big trucks. I'm behind a Silverado, an F-150, a Sierra, and a Super Duty, and I'm taller than all of them. So I guess my point is I am glad General Motors made this vehicle because they kind of needed to. They were kind of needed to get into this off-road trend, but geez, it's big. So let's talk about the drive. You know, this is not particularly powerful or fast, but that's never really been the purpose of it. It doesn't have a lot of torque so it can be quick, you know, 0 to 60. That's not the goal. It has a lot of torque so it can pull, but it certainly does a great job of keeping up on the freeway and driving around. It can totally handle all that, no big deal. The ride quality is never that great in these heavy-duty trucks. I never quite understand it because they're so big, they get so much suspension travel. This one has off-road tires, thick, chunky things, and small wheels. You would think it would be able to feel more comfortable, but these trucks, they just never have great ride quality. They always kind of bounce around and punish you a little bit, and that's certainly the case here as well. You do, of course, have a king-of-the-road kind of towering driving position, as I've mentioned. You really do feel like you're above everything because you are. And that's, I think, a big factor for people buying this. They like that feel, and they have it here. Really, from the perspective of a heavy-duty pickup truck, I got nothing but good things to say about this. Great powertrain that just feels like it can pull for days because it can. Great seating position, you know, very capable, visibility, tech, all of it is great. It's what you'd expect from a heavy-duty truck, and it delivers all that. It just delivers it at a very high price point. And so obviously the situation here is do not pursue this truck unless you are really going to use the off-road capabilities. That goes for both the AT4X and the AEV Edition, because an AT4X in itself is thousands of dollars more than a regular heavy-duty Sierra, even with the Duramax. And so to step up to an AT4X and then to step up to an AEV Edition, you really are spending a lot of money to get this off-road stuff. So don't get this truck unless you really need all that stuff. Otherwise, you can be happy with a lot of other versions of the Sierra lineup. Heavy-duty Sierra lineup. And so that's the new 2024 GMC Sierra 2500 HD AEV Edition, a massive pickup truck that can tow, haul, off-road, whatever you need, except fit into a tight parking space for over $100,000. And now it's time to give this giant truck a DougScore. And the DougScore is here, 48 out of 100, which places the Sierra 2500HD AEV Edition here against some comparable trucks. I liked the AEV Edition for its added equipment, its looks, and the usual smattering of big power, impressive technology, interior space, and capability that comes with a heavy-duty pickup at this level. But there are some obvious drawbacks. This truck is huge, and its added AEV equipment only makes it huger, and frankly, I don't find it to be an excellent value considering the equipment added to the AEV Edition for the price. Still, this truck has it all if you need it all, but it also has all the price tag and all the size to go along with it.